And good evening, everyone. Welcome out to Quebedeaux for another edition of Coach Speak. We're here bringing you all the ins and outs of the high school football week. Looking forward to another big, exciting week that's coming up, wrapping up Week 9, looking ahead to the playoffs, looking ahead to Week 10. But before we do any of that, we want to go ahead and introduce this esteemed panel that we have. And Tom, and we'll go, hold on, all the way to my far right, the voice of the Pineville Rebels, Mayor Rich Dupree. Rich, welcome aboard.
Good to see you, sir.
All the way to the left, it is the voice of the Tioga Indians, and what a battle they had. We'll hear about that in just a little bit, and it's Billy French.
Hello, everybody. Good to be back.
And the voice of the district champion, Menard Eagles, Tom Boucher.
Yeah, thank you. That's me. Solo district champions.
Solo district champions. There you have it. And I am Doug Gann, voice of the Ash Trojans. Had a tough one this weekend. We'll talk about all of that. I would be in a bind if I didn't kick things off and visit that district championship. And what a blowout we thought was happening. But here come the Eagles storming back. Homecoming magic. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was a tale of two halves,
yes,
as we talked about during the game. And really, it was in the first half, it was just two plays.
Right.
I mean, and talking to Coach Scully afterwards, they had two 68-yard runs, one on the second play of the game, and then the other one was the first play of their second drive. Outside of that, they didn't really have a whole lot. That first half they had it was 136 yards in the first quarter, and that was those two runs. And then they had 94, but they didn't really do much after that. And then the second half, Menard scored on their first drive, actually the first two drives, and this is when your kicker is a weapon.
Right.
And we've been talking about it all year. Ryan Hicks is a weapon because you can kick go for a field goal, and he can kick from anything 45 or 47 in, and it's going to go into the end zone even if it doesn't cross the bars.
Which makes it it's
a punt into the end zone, basically,
That's right.
Touchback to the 20. But if he makes it, you get the 3. Well, then you kick the extra point, you get 7.
That's right.
You go for 2 and don't make it, you get 6. And that's what happened to Oakdale twice. And we got one of them, and we went for 2. I'll ask Coach Perkins about that, David, on Wednesday, what his thought process was on that one rather than just kicking the extra point because it was still early in the second half.
Well, it seemed like, and we're watching the Saddlers Towing scrolling scoreboard down there at the bottom of it, and I know Rich watches it a lot in his games. I know Billy does as well. But we're looking at it, and we're seeing that 12-0 that's in there.
Yeah.
And we're like, uh-oh, here we go.
And then you saw 12-7.
We did see that.
And then you saw 13-22.
Yes. So
it's in the text message. It's called a fat thumb is what
it was.
It's called.
Excitement is what it was.
It was.
Well, and I'm showing it to Nathan next to me, and, we're like, okay, and just wasn't really sure about all that. And we're trying to stay live with what we're doing.
Yeah, my bad on that one. I mean, I didn't proofread it, and Cindy always gets on me. My wife, why don't you proofread your text?
I'm
trying to call a game at the same time.
I said during
live
when we were trying to figure it out same thing, Rich.
Yeah.
We were on air, and I was like, they must have kicked a shot a free throw. They had a free throw going, so we get it going. You got to deal with what you got to do, but it's hard to keep up with what we're doing, making sure we're calling, and then we're checking scores because we're rooting for all you guys on the same.
Sure.
And it's tough to keep it up while we're talking, our game.
And I was the one doing the texting. I mean, Andrew Beeman's doing a great job producing for us.
Right.
And I just focus on the game. And then when I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I got to text Chuck the score, when I think about it. And Andrew's doing the score on the Flexi School board and doing the time. I mean, that's all happening for the Wallace Eye Center, Associates School Board.
Right.
And that's all up to date. So I got to worry about texting. And it's so exciting at the end. I'm trying to text it real quick.
And then blam.
And I didn't even read it. 13-22. I didn't see it till after the game. And I saw Chuck's little question mark.
So what you're telling us off the air right now, because we're at commercial break, is that Cindy texted you and you told her not to fool with you during the game, that you were working, right?
No.
Look right there when you say that.
She always tells me to proofread my text because I always have to go back and correct them.
Well, what a great time it was. I know Coach Perkins put so much of his blood and sweat into this team. I don't know that there's anybody that bleeds more green and gold than Coach Perkins. I mean, he's grown up around it, too. The excitement that he has, he's got to be thrilled over this one.
Oh, most definitely. The whole school is elated over the victory. And the crowd, can I just say, the crowd that turned out for that, it also was homecoming. And you had a big crowd. Coach Mike Burns was out there for the 1973 50-year reunion. It was my 40 year. We had the 30, the 20, and the 10s out there. And
calls it like he's going to the end zone. We had the 40, the 30, the 20.
He's got one old man to beat.
Boom! Oh, wait.
So anyway, it was just a huge crowd on both sides. Oakdale fans, the Warrior fans were out in full force all along the fence line and even on the track. And nobody went anywhere because it was 12-0 in the first half and then 13-0 in the second half, basically, with a 13-12 score and the Eagles on top. And they brought the trophy out. They had it out there in the for the post-game little gathering that they do on the field, and the fans were out there. Coach Perkins, it was so great to be able to talk to him after the game. One of my interns goes out there and does a post-game interview, and to be able to talk with him. He was in the booth with me last year, all year long. So there's a special kind of bond there between David and me. And and to be able to congratulate him and to think they are 6-3. And if they win next week against Glen Oaks, they will actually have more wins than they had in the last 3 years.
That's amazing.
Goodness
That's
gracious. That's quite a testament. So your athletic director has got to be excited about his head coaching hire.
I think he's going to give him a raise.
That's right.
I was actually thinking about that and joking about it, or thinking about joking about it with David on Wednesday night, because he is the athletic director,
That's
for those
correct.
of you who don't know.
Well, congratulations to the Menard Eagles, Coach Perkins, and all those great guys. Looking forward to seeing our Southern Air Cool Play of the Game and our Quebedeaux Player of the Week coming up from the Menard game. Hopping right over to those teams that win games on Friday nights. Let's go to Billy, because I got nothing to say in this one. Billy French and the Tioga Indians had a big one.
We had a phenomenal game Friday night. Again, it was very similar, tale of two halves type of deal as well. Peabody, I'll just say this. I won't do the Doug where the camera zoom in and everything, but Peabody is legit. I don't need those. I'm younger.
All right, just a second.
Peabody is legit. They are a phenomenal, well-coached team. Just the young guys on that team, the stud athletes that they have all the way through there, lived up to the hype. We knew the record coming in. They were
Right.
pretty good this year as opposed to past years. And, man, did they come out and they hit us right in the mouth right off the bat. We started off with the scoring drive with Kenny Ponche. Travis Adams out of this ball game, so we did not have our starter, but Kenny Ponche had a day himself. But Dartavius DePass is the young man that I'm going to talk about for this Peabody team. So explosive, number 5. He plays both sides of the ball, of course, but running back, he can play wide receiver. But when he gets the ball in his hands, he makes plays. It's very, very Jacorian Norris-esque type of movement where he plays everywhere. And they came out there after we scored. They come back and just beat the brakes off of us in the first half. And then they got the ball in the third quarter. We didn't touch the ball again until the 3 minutes left in the third quarter. And then we were finally able to move the ball a little bit. Ponche had a couple more runs. Case Malone had a rushing touchdown. And then Jacorian gets the ball and not to give it away. We go into overtime. I'll just say that because I don't want to take up too much time. But
well, everybody knows because that game was Friday. They know it went to overtime.
Right, it went into overtime. They score, do not get the 2-point conversion,
Right.
which, if I could say the only negative thing about the Peabody team is they don't have a kicking game.
Right.
They don't have the extra point. They have to go for 2 every time. So they do not get the 2-point conversion. Tioga finally gets the ball in Jacorian Norris's hand. He scores, and he has to break 2 tackles to even get into the end zone. They thought they were going to hit him in the backfield, and then the freshman kicker, Ethan Bridges, who'd missed 2 extra points already earlier in the night, comes in here, and he just absolutely money through the center upright, and Tioga wins a barn burner 33-32 at the reservation on senior night.
What a thrilling game that was.
Well, Billy, and I'll say we were watching it in the Rebel press box because we had finished, and we were trying to take all our equipment down, but we had to leave it plugged, leave everything operational so Nathan's computer would stay up. It was the last game to get finished of our broadcast. And, it was exciting to see. And when Jacorian came from right side and got the ball in open space, you knew he was going to get into the end zone. You weren't going to arm tackle him, even though they had arms on him at the 6, the 5, and closer to the goal line. But what an outstanding talent that young man is.
When you got that kind of a player, it was very smart on the coaching decision to get it in his hands. I wish we would have done it maybe in first, second, or third down. We didn't wait till the 4th down. But anyway, it worked. We got it. He got into the end zone, and it was just a fun night. Everybody was smiling, and it was completely different than what it was when we went in the half, and the whole stadium's going nuts because they're not used to Peabody coming there and just really punching you in the mouth.
Well, that coaching staff that's there, certainly building on it. And that young man you told us about.
Dartavius DePass.
We watched some of the film on him, and just an incredible athlete out of Central Louisiana. So.
Yeah. And that's Coach Coleman. Of course, that's his nephew.
Right.
So it really, I'm sure he's proud too. And I did watch an interview, I believe it was with Brett, after the game, him talking about it, and you can just tell he is proud of that Peabody team, and they're going to be a force for the next foreseeable future.
Well they should be. It is great to see that. Up in the northeast portion of Louisiana, and it's difficult to get up there, but the Rebels finally made it, and we'll make that trip up there as well. But made that trip up to West Ouachita this past Friday night. Rich, tell us a little bit about that one.
Well, actually, West Washita made the trip to Pineville.
Well, there you have it, because all 5 of us
all
were.
5
there
of
you
us
go.
were home.
That's what I. Hello,
Yes,
McFly.
yes. If I could reach you,
Right.
I would. But,
I got it myself.
Yeah, okay. We were all home, which was a great thing.
Right.
And watching the returns come in, kind of like on election night. You know, it was close and a lot of rate. Never mind. It was, the West Washita came to
Was it
Pineville.
by 5 or 3?
For probably
We lost by 5.
You don't had your turn, okay? Hush.
Ash lost by 5.
But Pineville had West Washita, and the Chiefs came in and took it to Pineville early, and final score there was 21-7. Ball security an issue for Pineville. Matter of fact, there was a 4-play sequence where the 2 teams turned the ball over to each other 3 times in that 4-play sequence, right all around midfield. But ball security, drop passes continue to be an issue for Pineville. And, I certainly feel for Coach Bell from that standpoint because, defense is continuing to do its job against some of the bigger beasts of this district, and still struggling to get both sides of the ball together at the same time. But we did have some outstanding play from a couple of young men on the offensive side. We'll highlight those in just a little bit with our not only our Southern Air Cool Play of the Game, but we will also have a new name for our Quebedeaux Player of the Week. So we look forward to announcing that. He's a young man that is not the tallest on the team, but he certainly showed out on Friday night. We'll talk about that. And a little bit of redemption as well for another running back, 2 sophomores that were outstanding for Pineville. So again, coming up short. Fall to 2-7 on the season, but the Rebels are still in the playoff chase, and I know we'll get into that discussion in just a little bit as well. So anything is still possible with the possibility of a rematch of a earlier game.
That's right. You
a little
start,
tease.
Start looking at the projections and all of that, and so you've got we'll talk about opponents coming up next in just a bit on there. The Trojans, of course, were at home this Friday night and welcomed in the Rebels of West Monroe into this one in a game that started out the Trojans kicked the opening one, went for the onside kick at first, and that started a little bit of the chaos because the onside kick wasn't called in there, so there was some miscommunication throughout. But you got the 3 and out, turned up, went down and scored right away. So score on the opening drive of the game, it's 7-0 in there, and it's just a low-scoring battle. Comes up 7-7. West Monroe ties it up. Then right before the half, West Monroe's marching down. Trojans are able to get the stop, go down, kick a field goal, and here's an opportunity to Belichick West Monroe, if you will, score at the end of the half and start off the scoring again to start the second half. They come out with the opening kickoff and just the same work their way down, hit E.J. Scott. I believe it was Scott that had that one on the outside. He's going in and he gets to inside the 1, and the defender Moore for West Monroe comes up behind him and hits the football into the end zone for a touchback. And so the Trojans had an opportunity to make it 17-7. At that point, the very next play, West Monroe goes 80 yards to the house. It's 14-10. 5 plays later, it's a pick 6 thrown, and it's 21-10. Trojans come back, make a game of it. It ends up where they had the opportunity. Down 28-23, they score, forced to get the ball back, and Feaster throws an interception there on what thwarted that game-winning attempt at it. But again, it's stacking up moral victories and flushing them down the toilet, because if you talk to anybody over there, they don't want to play close games against some of these guys and don't want it to be a shocker. They feel like they believe they belong at the top of any of the boards that are in there. Sitting around 12 or 13 right now. It's going to make playoff seeding a little bit difficult, but what a night it was. J.T. Lindsay had a pretty good game. We'll talk about our Southern Air Cool Play of the Game as well as our Quebedeaux Player of the Week, and you'll hear a couple of new names in that as well. But that's kind of a wrap-up of what happened with the Trojans on this Friday night. So that'll take care of the first portion of it. Buckeye, I didn't keep, as bad as I hate to say it, I didn't see that Buckeye game on there to know what happened in that one, to recap.
It was a lot of scoring. I know that. It was a lot of scoring.
56-49.
Yeah.
The Marksville won that one.
Missed a three from the corner as time expired.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
But they were down. They were being shut out like 20-something to nothing, 24-0 early, and came back, and they did most of it without Burlew because Burlew was sick going into that game.
Goodness.
And
what a difference maker Jim Burlew is.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt. So we need to get a constant chair in here for Coach Ben McLaughlin so he can give us some insight on that, too. It was just great having Ben out here last week without a doubt. It was a lot of fun. So we're going to take our first break of the evening. When we come back, we'll look ahead to next week's games. We'll also get into our cool play of the game brought to you by Southern Air Heating and Cooling. We'll have our Quebedeaux player of the week, and it's getting down time to start thinking about our banquet on there. When every team is finished and wrapped up, we'll have our banquet going out, and we're going to bring these players of the weekend. We'll name our player of the year, and then we'll name our overall player of the year as well. Got new candidates for it. We'll find out who they are when we come back. You're watching Coach Speak from Quebedeaux right here on 446 Sports.
Wherever you are, you're there for a reason. You shouldn't have to make a trip to the branch to deposit a check. Skip the trip and use our mobile app to easily and securely deposit checks right from your phone. Day or night, wherever you are, or whatever you're doing. Download our mobile app today.
Buying car insurance for the first time can be overwhelming. Do you have enough coverage? Are you paying too much? Will someone be there for you when the unexpected happens? I'm Jason Hawk with Farm Bureau Insurance. You may think it's easier online, but why wait? We're here to help you make sure you're covered. When it comes to car insurance, we have the answers, and we may have rates that save you money. So talk to Hawk at 318-791-HAWK or online at talktohawk.com and let us help you protect your biggest investments.
And we are back to Quebedeaux on a Sunday evening edition of Coach Speak. Doug Gann along with Billy French, Tom Boucher, Rich Dupree, bringing you all the action. Before we get into our cool plays of the game and players of the week, I want to give a shout out to the ASIL Athletics organization. They were in town, and they named their 8-man football championship. They had it this week out at Tioga. We're able to go out there. And John Paul the Great Academy, the Guardians, end up going back-to-back with state championships. Young man Sawyer Dean grabbed the MVP out of there. And they get into a little 8-man wishbone is what they run through, going to throw one pass, and there was a penalty on it. So I don't think they had one single pass, but they end up winning that one 38-0. But you get into the scoreboard issue of it. And I really hate to do this because I'm liable to be muted before the rest of the game. But the score showed there 38-1 throughout most of the game.
There you go.
That's what happens. Somehow, Acadiana Christian School had the free throw. Technical foul, I think, is what happened. Oh, that was an assist, is what that was. So we're going to work from right to left with our Southern Air Cool play of the game. We'll start down there in Pineville with my man Rich Dupree.
Appreciate it, Doug. The Southern Air Cool play of the game came in the fourth quarter. And I want to give some credit to Nathan Martin for kind of putting 3 plays together that highlighted the scoring drive. And hopefully we'll show you what we mean when we hit that. But it will highlight Aiden Tate, who had sat out most of the second half. after turning over the ball a couple of times in the first half. And a little redemption for our sophomore running back on this series of plays.
Whitty on 1st and 10 from the 21, going to hand off. That is Tate on the carry. And Tate gets the ball inside the 10 down to the 6. 1st and goal for Pineville. Whitty pumps. Now Whitty's running. Whitty looking. Cuts back and gets
out of bounds.
2nd and goal at the 6. Tate. Yes, touchdown.
Boom.
So feel good for Aiden, who started the season as a linebacker, still plays some linebacker, but as a sophomore, he made his running back debut in the Barb game, and he has been the go-to running back. But he was not the go-to back on Friday night. Another young man stepped up. We'll get to that in just a minute. But again, Aiden Tate with the touchdown run from the 6. Our Southern Air Cool play of the game.
There you have it. We'll work our way down to the Menard Eagles, and you guys could have had a bunch of them, I believe, in that district champion Menard Eagles. Sorry, you have to say that like Heisman Trophy winner. You always have to say that in front of it. Go ahead.
Solo district champion Menard Eagles. I put a 3-minute clip together.
That's right. Cool plays of the game.
I showed the whole drive.
That's right.
About 80 yards of plays that we're going to have tonight.
I don't think so, Tom.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry, Bear. I had to do it.
No, you didn't.
Oh, my gosh.
Rolling right
All
along.
right, let's roll that wonderful bean footage. This was happening in the fourth quarter.
Number 2
Johnson,
on the top there.
Johnson under center, 4th and 4, and they're going to fake the pitch, roll it out. Drake Aldridge is chasing him. He's going to throw the ball.
Good play.
It's
Batted
knocked
away.
down by Drake Aldridge, and the Eagles hold on 4th and 4. Drake Aldridge held the edge and blocked the ball. That is a candidate for Southern Air's cool play of the game. So not only was it a candidate, it became the cool play of the game, and we actually could have added another one. We thought that was going to be the final drive for Oakdale, but Menard ended up punting it away, and they had another shot at it, and we stopped them in 4 plays down at the 7-yard line. But that one was key because that took time off the clock, and we were able to run a lot of time, and they didn't have much. They had under a minute to go when they got the ball back at the 7.
2 things I saw out of that. One, the momentum of the Eagles. You saw when they were coming off the field, the excitement on there. They knew what was going on. They were in the moment. And 2, you need to show more emotion on a call. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just a little light.
It's that blood pressure medicine he's on. So
I'm like Stephen Wright, the comedian. It's just so mellow.
Yeah. Thank you.
Monotone.
Doug don't know who that
I don't know who that
I
is.
did, though. I got
I'll
the reference.
I'll research that later.
But you saw Drake right there. That was just such a great play. He was holding a blocker and then just threw him off when Dakota Johnson took off, and he had him dead to rights and was able to get the hand on the ball. And what an exciting play it was. You saw Coach Scully.
Yep.
His defense really stepped up. And something I was going to tell you was at halftime, David said he told those guys, come out and play Menard football. We'll win it 14-12. And he should have gone for the extra point to make it right.
See there, let's take a look at Buckeyes. Is that what you told me, Chuck? All right, we'll take a look at the Buckeyes, Southern Air.
Cool play of the game.
1st and 10 Tigers. They don't have any more timeouts left. They have enough time for maybe 2 plays. Quarterback rolls to his left, looking to throw to somebody. Looking for somebody to throw to. He's finally dropped.
Get
That's
the
a
ball.
fumble.
Get the ball.
Get on it.
Go,
Go.
go,
That's
go,
a fumble.
go.
There he goes. Down the field. Michael Jenkins. Touchdown. What a turn of events here.
As time runs out for the first half.
Wow.
Well, indeed, what a dramatic play. And, again, just the mellowness of our announcers continues to it. But, no, great to hear Scott Mills and Kim on the call there making that one. So, good work. And who was that picked that up? And I didn't –
Jenkins.
Michael Jenkins. That's right. Tremendous pick up there, the scoop and score, if you will. That was great to see.
It sounds like Michael could hear him from the press box.
He just stood there.
He was just standing, and then they were telling him to run, and he took off.
Christian Moros is the one that had the
sack there at the end. Okay.
Colt Bircher. All right. We're going to go with let's keep rolling.
Right.
I'm glad you
Why are we listening to the producer?
Right, because he'll mute you if you don't.
I thought Chris was like a ventriloquist, and I was like, man, he changes voices.
See,
It
he
reminded me of kind of
roles.
like Ricky Bobby when he was all sitting there. He didn't know what to do when he had the ball in his hand.
I don't know what to do. For Alexandria, and first we'll apologize for the footage on this. We had internet concerns most of the night, so we were streaming at a much lower bit rate on there, which causes for a little bit of the grainy pixelation that you'll see on here. But nevertheless, it is Amirion Mingo that was the touchdown for the Trojans that got them to within that final score where they would have an opportunity to go down and win this. But it's one of those that you had to have. He cuts inside his receiver. But let's go ahead and take a look at it, Chuck.
Down and 3 following that penalty in the end zone. Back to pass. It's Feaster stepping up. Zips that one in there, and it is caught into the end zone.
What a move.
Goodness gracious. Good zip on the ball, and the Trojans are going to have to go.
So the idea there, you got to get that touchdown. I think that was third down probably for there, and the Trojans had to get it. Ended up having to go for 2. Didn't get it, so that's what led to getting down the field the other. But needless to say, congratulations, Amirion Mingo in his senior year. My Mingo jumping in, plays defense, has moved over and started playing defensively. At crunch time, they put him in there at receiver, and it paid dividends there. Billy.
Yeah, big matchup, of course, against that overtime win against Peabody. I had a young man in mind up to the point to where we had to change it here. So a little honorable mention to Christian Isles. He made a heck of a tackle on special teams to keep D-Pass back there right at the end of the game. But once this happened, there was no doubt in my mind this had to be our Southern Air cool play of the game.
This is where it's clutch. He's missed 2 tonight. All of that don't mean a thing. Right here is where we need Ethan Bridges, who's been very consistent all season long, to get this extra point. We need a good snap, and Josh Lloyd is the holder.
Will Peabody call a timeout here?
And there's the kick, and it's up. And it is good.
Good.
Ethan Bridges, as time was expiring on the play clock.
And just an absolute, just clutch for a freshman kicker. And again, like I said, he has been very consistent all year, and he had a horrible night leading up to that point right there, but comes through all that beforehand that you forget about that, and he come through when he really needed to.
So the announcer jinx is real, and so I think that was kind of an anti-announcer jinx. He said, he's missed 2 of them tonight already. What's a chance? And the kid did well played
I knew he
there,
was going to make it. That's part of my job. That's what Tioga pays me.
There you go. Bless their hearts. Let's hop on over and stay with Tioga. Let's look and hop on over to the Quebedeaux Player of the Week.
Yes. Again, Travis Adams was out this week, and that's our normal number 1 running back, and he's had a phenomenal season. But that mentality at Tioga, next man up, you never know who's going to come in. This young man has gotten quite a few carries throughout the year, especially when we're up big. But Kenny Ponche comes in there with 28 carries, 165 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and just absolutely sets the tone. Had big chunk yardage. Even when Tioga was trailing, when he got the ball, he was getting 4 or 5 yard clips every time. So our Quebedeaux Player of the Week, without question, is Kenny Ponche.
Well,
and he plays both running back and linebacker. Safety, yeah.
Tremendous work there by the young man. And it's another new name that we haven't heard of all year that gets his name onto the candidate list for the Player of the Year.
As when we played at Neville, they announced him as Kenny Pontier or something like that. It's Ponche. It's Kenny Ponche.
there you have it. The play-by-play guy's supposed to know those names. For the Trojans of Alexandria, the young man had a tremendous night, and he's been that way. And you knew he would have a coming-out game in this one. But junior wide receiver Darius Washington comes up with 10 catches. And so when we do our starting lineups on there, we'll show the picture of the player, we'll show all of that, and got a call today and said, hey, the picture y'all using for D-Dub isn't him. I said, uh-oh. And so we went off his number 3. You see him on there. So I had to scour around, and that's when he's down there at Southern's football camp.
Yep.
So, no, he actually, that's his hands are that good. He can put his own hand back around his shoulder. That's how he went to catch all those balls. But 10 receptions, just a tremendous night. And he was getting hit every time that he caught the ball. And the young man, if you look at the wide receivers for Alexandria, I think they're both around 5'6" and about 150 pounds, soaking wet. Let's just say they're not big guys, but they will get out in space and do things. So congratulations, Darius Washington, not only with the 10 receptions, but the work that he does in the punt return game also. We're going to go. Yeah, let's do Buckeyes. Tom, go ahead.
All right, the player, Quebedeaux. Player of the game is Christian Moras, as you just saw. I think Christian, if we talked about it, he was the one with the sack, right?
Yeah. Well, you have his stats
at the very end.
Do you not? No. Okay. No. I'm just
Hang on.
I'm just picking.
No, Brett didn't do the stats.
Congratulations to Christian Moras and the Chuck playing charades again. We're going to move on to
one word.
Menards. Hey, got it. We're going to move on to Menards. Quebedeaux Cajun Cafe
3
Player of the
syllables.
Week. That's right.
Yeah, the Quebedeaux Player of the Week. Go ahead and roll that footage. No, I'm just kidding. It's Cooper Scott. This is
Imagine that.
This is a young man that could have been that he could have been Quebedeaux Player of the Game. Every week. He stays on the field all the time as a linebacker and running back. In this one, he scored the second touchdown to put us on top. And he also, in the last drive, batted down a pass and almost had a sack for a safety, along with I think it was T. Sam Bracata that was back there that playing great defense. But young man. I mean, we saw he's had several of the cool play of the games that we've done, the Southern Air cool play of the games, but we finally had to put him in as the Quebedeaux Player of the Game.
He should have had it last week. You weren't here. John said that big screenplay that he made. John said he looked for that one, and what a play that was, and that didn't make it. So sorry, Cooper, but it was Tom.
That was a Southern Air Play of the Game.
There you have it. Rich Dupree and the Pineville Rebels.
Yes, sir. We do have a new name to add to the mix, and you'll know why I paused on that word here. We say congratulations to Hakeem Mix, as he is the...
I now see what you did there.
Yes. I was waiting for the graphic to come up so y'all could all join the party. Brett was the only one that was over there celebrating the play on words. But Hakeem is a sophomore running back who came in after Aiden Tate had fumbled the ball a couple of times. And Hakeem, a sophomore himself, lives here in Pineville. Actually started at another school but transferred back to Pineville and is just coming out and showing what a 5'5" young man can do with a low center of gravity. He had 21 carries for 109 yards in the game, and just again a new name to the mix for us, as we have had several defensive players win the award. Jacob Miranda's won it twice, but going into Week 9, it was great to give it to an offensive player that had not been previously a player of the week. And so Hakeem Mix is our young man, and we say congratulations to him. And in looking things over from our players of the game for the first 9 weeks, only one of those is a senior. The rest are juniors and sophomores. So that was some good news to share with Coach Bell, as we were, Nathan and I were talking to him yesterday, just trying to get his thoughts on some of the awards and the different things, and getting up-to-date stats from him as well. So just continuing to build on the future there at Pineville.
Well, that's great to see that. We're going to take a break. You ought to see that Chuck just got up. He does that. When we come back, we're going to have our segment with Brett McCormick. We like to call it what? Our segment with Brett. Yeah, because we haven't come up with a fancy name. But no, I don't. But
we're going to get him into the mix.
Thank you.
Gosh, wow. This is when does their lounge open here? How far away is that from Quebedeaux building a new lounge in here? When is that going on? We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Right now,
You're watching Coach Speak right here on 446 Sports.
Is your vision just not as crisp and clear as it used to be? Are you having difficulty driving, especially at night? Are you over 40 and now needing reading glasses? If so, the trusted eye care team at Wallace Eye Associates is here to help with your family's eye care needs, just like we have been for nearly 40 years. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
BK Distributors is proud to support high school athletics on 446 Sports. BK is the one-stop shop for trophies, banners, awards, letter jackets, and just about anything award-related. And now, welcome BK Apparel and BK Promotions to the family for all your spirit apparel needs and anything you need to brand your business. When you think of anything you need with your name on it, think BK. Check them out on Facebook or at bkdistrib.com. BK Distributors, Apparel and Promotions in Pineville.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Harrell, Certified Residential Appraiser. I am currently a leading provider of appraisal services for mortgage lending, employee relocation, estate planning, and community property settlements. My experience in real estate over the past 13 years and currently serving as president of the Greater Central Louisiana Realtors Association has given me a clear understanding of the real estate world and the ever-changing market we live in today. For any of your valuation needs, give me, Kimberly Harrell, a call.
Time for a red, white, and cool summer event at Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Right now, you can save on a new energy saving system. No money down, 0% interest, and no payments till June 2024. Call Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing or visit us online.
We are back to another Sunday evening here at Quebedeaux, an episode of Coach Speak, where you hear a little bit of the stuff that the coaches won't really bring out and talk about. Thought we had our man, Coach Ben McLaughlin, into that last week, and he said, I'm not coming back because you guys get too much out of me. So there you have that. But we're joined here by Brett McCormick. Brett supplies all of our stats for us, goes back and watches the games and just does a yeoman's work at getting all of that. So, Brett McCormick, welcome aboard.
It's nice to be here.
You told us something off the air that really, I don't know, it took me aback just a little bit about that Peabody-Tioga game. And what was your statement on that?
So I try not to be a prisoner of the moment, but I was thinking back at all the games, and you know, it's hundreds.
Throughout
my career, and that might be the best overall game that I have seen as far as atmosphere, environment, the going to overtime, how thrilling, incredible it was, and the emotion when Tioga won. It was just, I really struggled picking what game I was going to go to between Ash, West Monroe, and Tioga Peabody, but I feel like I picked the right one.
Well, if you'd have been at Ash, maybe Ash would have won. So you willed have been there. Come on now. No, but that is good to see. I don't know if you've posted any of your pictures up from there. I saw one that you had of Jacorian and DePass that were right there at each other, and that's one of the great ones.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I'm a little behind, because the stats stuff takes priority trying to get ready for tonight before I go into editing. But no, I know I have some really good memories that I'll be able to share from Friday night.
So, Brett, from a playoff perspective, as we go into week number 10, and, used to you could just go look at the power rankings and you would say, okay, one's getting 32 and two's getting, 31. But not only is the pool diluted by this select, non-select, but even the playoff brackets are a little hard to interpret for those that have followed football for a long time.
Right. Now you've got, 24 teams make it in select and 28 teams make it in non-select, and 8 get a bye and 4 get a bye, and, who's going to match up with who. And it was funny. We talked to Coach Cook after the game, like, hey, this was a huge win for y'all. We think you might have locked up a first-round bye. And then I've checked the power ratings, and they dropped from 8 to 9. So, I am not the guy to do prognostication of where the power ratings are going to end up.
But it's not just wins and losses, though, that factor into that. It's everybody you've played and everyone they play over the course of the 10 weeks.
Well, it's, the formula is pretty simple. You either get 10 points or 0 for whether you win or lose. You get points for playing up in a division, which is weird now because Peabody got 2 points for playing a district game against Tioga because Tioga's Division 1 and Peabody's Division 2. We have to fix that. Yeah. Period. Have to fix it. And then you get points for your opponent's win. So, like Ash, their power rating, even though they have 4 losses, the 4 teams that have beat them have a combined 1 loss.
Right.
So, I mean, their power rating is definitely helped because I haven't checked the strength factor, but they have to have one of the top strength factors in the state because their schedule has been incredible.
Well, and it's shown on there, too. What do you see coming up next week that could have the biggest implication on whether somebody moves from a 9 to an 8 or somebody goes from a 25 to 24? Because in this select division that we're all in, being in Rapides Parish, they take the top 24, which gives the first 8 teams a bye, and then 9 through 24 seed out and play with the first 8 hosting those games. So you'll get some folks have home playoff games, but who has the most to win or lose in a week like this, Week 10?
I mean, I definitely think the Tioga has, a lot to watch. There are some teams ahead of them that play each other, and how is that going to play out? They're right on the border at 9. They need somebody ahead of them to slip, and they can maybe move up. But then behind them is John Curtis, who plays Carr. And if Curtis beats Carr, then they're going to leapfrog Tioga. And so there is a lot going on if you want to find out, hey, by Thursday, I want to know who's playing who. There's a lot going on.
There is indeed. And that's what you want out of this. Now, we sat and we talked about it, too. There are too much chaos. There is too much chaos with the way things are going. Take Tioga, for example, that is out there, and they're in a district with a Peabody who will play in a different division. They're in it with Neville who will play somewhere. I mean, you're playing teams in district, and District 2 5A is not unlike that at all because you got your Ruston and Ouachita and West Ouachita that will go off in another bracket that none of us can see them again, and then Tioga or Pineville and Alexandria will all end up over in Division 1-2 there. So help me make sense of the disaster that is the LHSAA playoffs. Hang on.
The problem...
It's y'all's fault.
And it is. The problem is everybody has an opinion.
Right.
I have my own opinions, but my opinion means nothing. I don't get to vote on this. But the fact that Tioga can play Pineville potentially in the first round of the playoffs, but is not in the same district as Pineville is just, to me, your system's broken. It's broken if that's the case. If you can meet in the playoffs, but you're not in the same district in the regular season.
Or in the same classification.
Same classification, yeah.
That's right.
I mean,
that's the thing when you look at Menard and Oakdale that just played for would have been a share of the district championship, and it didn't happen. But Oakdale is going to play in Division 4.
Right.
Some
go up, some go down. And I do know, I have been told by a couple of coaches who know what's going on, that the Coaches Association is pushing that we move to redistrict based on divisions or classes, whatever we want to call them. We're going to have 4 if we call it division or a class, whatever, but we redistrict based on those 4, what we're going to end up in the playoffs versus the 5 classes that we have right now. And I think that's what needs to happen.
You want to know the problem with that solution? It makes too much sense.
It makes way too much sense.
And that's it. You can't just look and take it out on paper and just say, yeah, that's the way that we're going to do this. And I'll sit here and say that I'll never understand that. I think my solution, take all of your top 32 teams, move up and have a Super 6A. And look at Evangel. Evangel steps up and plays in 5A. They got some creative enrollees. So we'll leave it there. But they're going to step up and say, look, let's go play ball.
And we have some teams that would do that. I mean, Curtis, after years and years and years of playing in 4A instead of 5A, decided they were going to move up to 5A and play in the Catholic League. Evangel is doing it. Lafayette Christian decided they wanted to play in 4A because there's a couple of teams in Lafayette that had been avoiding them on the schedule, and they said if we play in that district, they cannot avoid us. But I think they're a team that would choose to play up in a 6A or whatever we wanted to call it. So there are teams that want the challenge, that say, hey, we believe year in and year out we're one of the best teams in the state. And I know Thomas Bachman would be the first to line up and say, put Ash in that. We want to go play the best of the best and see where we're at.
Yeah, exactly right. Guys, anything for Brett before we let him get out of here?
Well, I just, where do you see Menard fall? I mean, we were ranked 20 going in. After the win, we moved up 3 spots to 17. Only 1.4, points separate from 17 to 12.
What hurts you guys is you don't have a big district, and the district is not great on a whole as far as wins and losses. You need St. Fred's to win. You need all of your Sacred Heart, your teams that you played in non-district who are pretty competitive. You need them to win because at this point in the season, every power point matters, and that, 2 wins is the difference between 2/10 of a power point, which may be the difference between a home game and a road game.
Right.
Yeah, because right now you're looking at a trip to Shreveport from what I'm seeing, Loyola Prep, 17 and 16, is that right?
Which that actually...
That'd
Look,
be a good little contest.
I have always said, if I have a choice of 17 versus 16, give me 17
because
then one would come. But that's changed now because of the bye. You're not guaranteed to be home in the second round anymore because of the byes. And so getting that home playoff game is very important. And I think Loyola versus Menard would be a very good game.
So it screwed up even more than we thought it was before we asked the question.
I'm also an advocate before, if you're the higher seed, you need to be home. There's your body of work, and don't go on the road just because somebody upset somebody.
Well,
and you've had a great season, you need to be home.
Not only that, but if you get a bye, I mean, obviously you're not playing home, you don't get the gate. But it's like it should be considered a home game if you got a bye.
Well,
and then you go on the road.
There are pushes that, like Doug said, to guarantee that what you do over 10 weeks in the regular season should matter, and whatever number is higher. If you're the 1 versus the 8, or you're the 4 versus the 5, that lower number, higher seed is at home, no matter what. And I'm not saying that's the wrong thing, but I don't know if we ever get to that.
Body of work, and I agree with you. You'll never get the majority. You'll never get what it takes to do that. Brett McCormick, we appreciate all the work that you do for us. Thank you, as always, for sitting in with us. We're going to take our final break of the evening. When we come back, regrettably, we'll get Billy back in here with us, and we'll have our episode of Chalk Talk. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Coach Speak live from Quebedeaux right here on 446 Sports.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier, transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use, anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our mobile app today.
For a lifetime of the best possible vision, look to Wallace Eye Associates, where our tradition of eye care excellence in Cenla spans nearly 40 years. From your next family eye exam to cataract and glaucoma evaluations, trust your vision to the experienced eye professionals at Wallace Eye Associates. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
Time for our red, white, and cool summer event at Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Right now, you can save on a new energy saving system. No money down, 0% interest, and no payments till June 2024. Call Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing or visit us online.
We are back to Quebedeaux for our Sunday night episode of Coach Speak, and as Billy joins us back in here, we'll let him.
Regrettably.
No, I said reasonably amount of time he's getting back in there. Let's hop on over to Chalk Talk And we'll take a look at that. Billy, if you'll recap our results from last week.
Absolutely. Tioga overtime win against Peabody, 33-32. Menard solo champions right there, 13-12. Great comeback right there by Menard. Ash falls to West Monroe, 28-23. Buckeye loses to Marksville, 56-49. And Pineville loses to West Washita, 21-7.
There you go. And that sets up, I believe, what is our standings next. Tom, take that for us.
Eagles climbing the ladder on all these Chalk Talk standings. Tioga still leads it at 7-2.
Yeah, we're taking a nap at the top.
HSM, the Eagles moved to 6-3 on the year. Ash at 5-4. Buckeye 5-4, and Pineville 2-7 on the year.
There you go. And coming up next week, Rich.
Well, next week, Tioga better wake up because they are playing at Grant.
And it's in blue because it's on Thursday night.
Oh, well, I'm glad you explained that.
Yes.
So it matches the blue that 446 Sports has over on the left logo.
See there? Since we're doing something on Thursday night, I
see
guess.
what you did there.
Right.
Yeah. So that means Chuck's available to work on Friday if we need him, right?
Indeed he is. He'll be making the trip to West Washita with us. Yes, sir.
There you go. There you go. And Holy Savior Menard will play Glen Oaks at home. Ash is at West Washita. The Panthers of Buckeye will play Gina, who is 9-0 on the season. They'll host the Giants. And Pineville will travel to Washita to play the Fighting Mike Downhours.
Indeed. Did you see the picture that I sent out when down there when that group was here?
Yes.
They sat in a tent on the far other side
I
over
was
there.
zooming in on the what is that?
Are you going to do the same?
No.
No.
I didn't know if Rich was going to do it. I know you told me next year you're going to do the same.
No, their press box is nice. I'm not sitting outside anyway when it's a nice press box. Yeah.
No.
There's food in there. There's all of that. I don't understand. He just didn't want to. He knew it was going to be jersey night for him next year, and he didn't want to come back down there and do that again because I've had to wear the jersey the last couple of years in that game. Trojans won it this time. So, yeah, it'll be a good trip up there to West Washita. I know you guys will go up there. Need to get a big win and get Pineville into the playoffs, and that'll be all of our teams that make it into the playoffs. We can't all be district champions, solo champions like our guys from Menard, but we'll do that. What a great night that it has been. Going to wrap things up here. Rich, why don't you start us off with the final thoughts?
I appreciate all of our great sponsors that make this possible each week. Our show has gotten better. The opportunities have gotten better. I hear more in the community because of the opportunities I have to talk to a lot of people that appreciate what we're doing. And as far as a final thought, I say thank you to each of the sponsors that have come on board, and there is room at the table for more.
Indeed there is. Tom?
Yeah, you were just pointing to Billy, and he's going to talk about our jerseys that we have, right?
That's right.
It's interesting, but talking about what we do at Full 4-6, I was walking back to the press box after visiting with my class of 1983, and there was a lady who stopped me. It was Gage Oser's grandmother who had driven up for the game, and she said, "Hey, thank you for what you do. We live in Covington, Louisiana, and when we can't make it up here, we're tuning into Full 4-6 and watching the games." And I know we watched it last year. We haven't looked at it, but all across the United States, there are little spots. I mean, I know Seattle, Washington, there's someone in my class, Herbie Chadwick, that's watching. David's son is watching, even like when he's on the ship. You know, he's in the Navy.
Cool.
And up on the East Coast. Chase was watching. I sang the national anthem. Thank you to Menard for letting me do that Friday night. And
Did you do that over the air?
Yeah,
That
I
is
did.
so cool.
In the
Wow.
very beginning.
I'll have to go back and watch that.
I don't have video of it. We had the flag because that's more important to me.
You're right.
But
wow, that just made. Goodness, I feel bad about that. No, go ahead.
But the mic, we had we had a spare mic, our Nat Sound mic, and we just rolled it around just so people could hear it. Because our mic that we have outside kind of goes in and out. But when we did that, Chase was watching. He texted me. He was watching in his apartment in New York,
Isn't that great?
in Manhattan. So
And
pretty cool.
to echo what Tom is saying, so not only are you getting to listen to it, which is what we all did in the beginning as far as high school sports and broadcasting, but you get to watch it and listen to it.
Right.
So great combination.
And look, we've to bounce off of a couple of those ideas. We have Boxcast, which is what we stream through, keeps up with all of our statistics for anything that's on there, as does YouTube. This week will go over 500,000 viewers on our YouTube channel, which when we started this thing about 16 months ago, never would have thought that the first subscriber that we had that wasn't me was great to have on there. But somewhere during this week, we'll eclipse. We're at 497,000, I believe, viewers or people that have viewed things that we've done on here, and that's simply in our YouTube. So a big, big, big thank you to those folks and all of our sponsors that make that possible. And we do have some internet issues sometimes, and it's just, the Ash game you're going to have that when you're relying on technology, and that's just the way it is. But we're going to continue. There are some detractors that are out there. We're going to continue to bring this teaching every week, and before Saturday morning rolls around, we'll have that recording uploaded, and you'll be able to go back and watch it. So to those that aren't blocked,
yes,
then I tell you, hang in there. We're getting better each and every week. But we've been in all 50 states, and we've been in 18 countries with viewers on there. So it is worldwide here, not prestige, just worldwide. Though, Billy, finish us up.
Look, again, going off to that Facebook, I look back on our Facebook feed from Friday night. Tioga, we have over almost 1,500 views just on that Tioga broadcast. I thank everybody, and that goes hand in hand. Our PA announcer, Holly Pace, she was off last week while we were at Neville, and she was in Panama. She sends us a picture, Chuck and I, and it's at the bar in Panama. Our game is being on a huge flat screen in Panama City Beach, and there's like 100 people just watching. They said they were into the game, the whole thing. So it's being covered everywhere. So we appreciate everybody watching. And look, a lot of us have face for radios, but the polos and plaids here in Alexandria make us look really, really good. At least the shirts look fantastic, and we cannot tell you enough how much we appreciate the jerseys with the polos and plaids. We get compliments every time that we're walking up and down these stands, heading up into the press box, and hey, where do you get that shirt at? Where and it's because of people like Polo and Plaids, Michelle LaCour. They do a phenomenal job, and I cannot tell you exactly how much we appreciate, and it's hard to make this look good. But they do a really good job.
Work.
Coaches shows this week.
Yes.
Yep. So mine's Tuesday night this week because we play Thursday night at Grant. So we're moving. We're going to move it here live at Quebedeaux Tuesday night, and we got a little special presentation. Our Tioga Junior High football team won a district championship, a three-peat, and they're going to be here. We're going to give them a little love here on Tuesday night. Coach Cook came up with the idea, and he was, so they're going to come over, and the coaches, we're going to kind of hype them up a little bit and get ready for Thursday night's game.
And a lot of good food indeed. You still have yours on.
We're still on Wednesday night, 7 p.m. at Wildwood Pizza, and the crowds have gotten larger and larger every week at Wildwood. In fact, we filled the whole outside, which we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, but we had people inside. The inside was full in their slowest hour from 7 to 8. And
don't get in the way of that Wine excited. Wednesday over there, brother.
Hey, 2 for 1.
Right.
That's right.
Yes.
And great pizza and a great roasted chicken salad. Man.
Melissa ate one of those Saturday. We went in there and ate Saturday, and it was tremendous there. I can't get past the pizza though. It's it's good. And then of course, Rich, y'all's is Thursday night as well.
Thursday night at Jim Deggy's, and I love Tioga's idea. We've been doing that for the last 4 seasons, having our junior high team come on the last show of the season. So we'll have the Pineville Junior High kids there on Thursday night at 6 p.m. And in addition to that, if you're wearing Rebel gear, 20% off your purchase at Jim Deggy's. So that's a good opportunity as well. Always good to celebrate our junior high kids, and we'll get to do that and save some money on Thursday night, 6 p.m. at Jim Deggy's on 28 East.
Looking forward to it. And then at 7 o'clock, out at Walk-Ons, we will have ours. It'll be the Thomas Bachman Show. We will be out there. Before we get out of here tonight, just want to give a big shout-out. Now, we've seen yours on here. Nick was on here. Nathan's been on here. So all of our analysts have made it in here, but we couldn't do anything without it. I know you've got a couple of other folks that work with you besides Nathan Martin, Robert and Landon Anderson. Bring that together.
Yeah, and Nathan's son, Anderson Martin, runs the Ninja Cam on the sideline. So, it's sometimes if you're rolling through all the names real quick, you can get them mixed up there with
you can.
the different Andersons.
Punctuation is key, just so you know.
That's right, and the significant pause. But, it takes it's a great crew that makes it happen for all of us.
And we know that John Wolf and the interns. Give us a quick little thought about those guys.
Yeah, John's doing a great job. You talk about a wealth of knowledge that came into the booth. I had David last year who was in coaching for 30 years, athletic director,
right.
So he knew a lot when I could keep him from yelling at, out at the team or out at Boone.
And so they told him, if you think you can do better, get down on the field.
And he did.
Well, how about that?
So John Wolf will be moving to the sidelines.
That's right. But John is also wearing the stripes on the nights that we don't play.
Right.
So Thursday night he'll go because there's a shortage of referees. That's something that we have to make sure that we mention. They picked up, I think, about 15 or 20 referees this year, but they're still short.
Right.
So that's why you're seeing a lot of these Thursday night games, because they don't have enough power, manpower, or woman power to be able to cover all the games on a Friday night. So if you are one of those folks that are yelling and screaming at the officials in the stands, get out there and go do the education and sign up and get out there and run up and down the field and just see how difficult it is. But we need them. We definitely need them out there. But John, man, he sets me straight sometimes, but he sees stuff out there and calls it like it is. And he's been a wealth. And my 2 interns from LSUA, man, they have picked it up. You saw that video. I mean, he batted the ball, but he was able to come back to it. I haven't had to give him an instruction in the last 2 games about how to shoot, a game. And it's just really smooth. And Andrew has picked up the production. I talked about that earlier, man. Just being able to call the game and be in it instead of worrying about, I got to run this, I got to run this commercial, I got to, do this. It's so nice. I don't know what I'm going to do next year. I mean, we're going into week 10. It's like,
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's something to look forward to. Of course, Billy and Chuck.
Yeah. Look,
it's hard to say so much about Chuck with him being right here.
He's the producer as well as my color guy. We have 6 interns at Tioga, and it's just people I randomly walk up to them, tell them to do things, and they have no clue who I am. But that's going to be our – and we're not big enough to have
we
real
don't have
interns.
either.
So I just go up to random people and tell them to do stuff. But, it's Chuck handles everything. I'd be lost without Chuck. I appreciate him tremendously. I get there at 5:30, and getting there and set up. Chuck's already set up in there.
So late?
He's wired to go.
if you know Chuck is setting up earlier, that's why it's so late.
He don't let me touch anything. Look, I wait just to carry the bags to his truck for him at the end of the night.
I had to start calling on my own so Rich would let me do more than just unscrew the ambiance mic outside.
But he does a phenomenal job, and I can't thank him enough. It's always entertaining because he's, I'm the king of the dad jokes, but Chuck's got some doozies himself.
You have go back and listen to that ASL broadcast that had me and Nick and Chuck on it last night, and it's like, oh my goodness.
It's just a lot of fun, and we appreciate it. And of course, I know you got on the schedule coming up some really good basketball stuff that's coming up as well.
A lot of big things. A lot of big things around. We'll top out at about 300 games this school season between what we do with ASL and what we do with all of the schools around here. My crew, brand new this year, save for our cameraman Roger Walker, who is back with us for another year, but replaced our analyst this year and our producer this year as we moved Chuck over to Tioga. But brother-in-law Brett Stallsby has stepped in and done production pretty good. Don't tell Chuck. But has done a good boy. Did he just hear that over there?
Yeah, get ready
and
to be
then
muted again.
Nick Magnano there. Look, poor Nick got muted there. Nick Magnano joined us in the booth, and he brings a lot to it. Notice last night in one of the games, the young man that was kicking off, no kidding, you can go back and watch the video, he said, Doug, first time he kicked off with his left foot. This time he kicked an onside kick with his right foot. He kicks one this way and he kicks one that way too. And then we watch back on there and he kicked. So it's noticing things like that and bringing a new perspective into it. But I do that to say that, we enjoy what we do as play-by-play guys. We couldn't do anything without the support group that we have that's all around us. And so hats off to all of those guys. And a lot of folks make this happen tonight as too. Tonight our show's here. Brett McCormick, who joins us. Brett, thank you for everything that you do. Lamar Primetime Gafford is getting set up for his playoff work. We're going to get Lamar in next week, and we're going to talk playoffs with him, of course, Chuck. And again, I know that we couldn't do anything without the ladies at home that let us spend as much time. I told my wife one time early on, we get married, I said, but baby, I don't hunt. She says, I think you'd be gone less if you hunted than you do doing football right now. That's why I don't get to cover LSU as much as we'd like to on there. But I know all of our wives at home are big supporters of what we do. And so
It's
at least
funny,
they tell
I use
you.
the same excuse.
Doug doesn't hunt.
I'm not a hunter. I tell my wife my hobby actually pays me.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Right? See?
That's right.
So, but mine still wants some backstraps out of this. I said, well, I don't have it up here anyway. But and Billy, I think you're engaged, aren't you?
I am engaged, yes, and it's
been engaged. Why? When you gonna marry her?
Very soon,
Okay.
sir, very soon. We might even have
breaking news.
We might even put it on Full
You want me
46
to live
Sports.
stream it?
We can
That's
live
right.
stream the whole thing.
He could go all the way.
Just one preacher to beat.
Not on this show, he won't.
Oh my God.
Where's Nathan when you need him, right?
Guys, that's going to do it for us. The Week 9 episode of Coach Speak is in the books.
The OT version.
No, stop that. Mute him, please, and everybody. He's not going to score on this show. Good night, everybody. I'm Doug Gann. God bless y'all.